Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Shauna. Let's get into this. So, hi guys. I hope all is well. I hope all is well. Now, we've been having these discussions about these portals and everything that's been going on in the ethers, right? Now, if you've been following, then you know that we've been going over the periodic table. I thought we were going to resume to it today, but the creator's like, nah, I got something I want you to talk about. It's crazy because this morning I was like, okay, Daddy, what is the topic, right? For the discussion. And he's like, energetic field. And I'm like, okay, I get to saying, okay, I'm going to, do my little morning routine and get to my research. And then what do you know? I have all this stuff just coming up on TV about hertz and craziness, right? Now, we have this Schumann frequency. This is referred to as the natural frequency of the planet, right? It's measured at 7.83 hertz. If you want to round it off, you can do so, and it'll get you to 8, right? A frequency of 8. Now, when we discussed, I believe it was fabrics. Yeah. When we discussed the different materials, right? When we talked about denim and cotton and, polyester and satin and silk, we had discussed and discovered that the human body emits an average frequency of anywhere from 70 to 100, with 100 being ideal and 70 being like average, right? So just with a little more research, if you want to just be regular and not high vibing at all, you're going to be vibrating around 62 to 71. Anything lower than that, you start becoming susceptible to disease and sickness and illness and things like that. Now, because we discussed the chakras, I didn't want to go into that too much, but we do have our own personal energetic fields, right? And just like the earth, we have electrical, magnetic, and gravitational energies about ourselves. Now, these energies are related to our health, right? Particularly how we can heal ourselves and others, self-defense, particularly your spiritual sense of defense, right? Whether that be praying, whether it be your active ability to just believe in God, or whether it is fasting, right? It doesn't matter how you go about that, just how you defend yourself in the spirit. And then your ability to create. Now, this is specifically related to things that are created for future generations to enjoy, right? Now, we have because we discussed, right? We know that there are over 100 chakras, and we have 12 of them that are in our energetic field, and then 7 of them are connected to the physical body. So the other 5 it's 4 above our head and then 1 beneath our feet. And because we're not necessarily discussing chakras, I won't get into that, but I think it's important because it's a part of your energetic field, aka your aura, right? So some people say they see colors, others say they feel vibrations, but either way you have it, and either way you have it, we are discussing the vibrations that are emitted from us. Now, the electric parts of you are, of course, your neurons, right? Your cells and things like that. Then we have the magnet, with your brain being the largest magnet, then your heart, like your organs, and then the gravitational part of you. It's not just the chemistry that you have with other people, but it's just the same gravitational pull that, the moon has with the ocean, right? Same gravity. But the thing is, the earth is so grand that our pull on the earth and tug, it bears no weight. Now, this bioelectrical energy, if you will, right? it encompasses many things. Now, it's related to these chakras, and I wanted to bring that up because these energy fields are open and closing our chakras depending on the level that we're vibrating, right? Now, if you want to automatically raise your vibration, of course, we know any day prayer, fast, and exercise can help you spiritually, physically, emotionally, and mentally, right? Anytime you want to whip yourself into shape, you can pray, you can fast, and you can work out. But removing fear specifically of death and or transformation of your life of any sort is one of the easiest ways to raise said vibration, right? We also have these past life and current traumas that cause energies to be stored in corresponding chakras. So just like, we discussed before, if you have always had your heart broken, right? Your heart chakra is going to be closed and it's not going to be open until that particular, area is nourished. Now remember, this energy is pertaining to the physical body, right? And then outside of those 7 chakras, we have the other 5 that also need attention. Now, the only thing that can raise your awareness or change the energy in any of these fields is your conscious ability to make changes in your physical waking life, right? Now, I think it's important for us to bear in mind that we have, an ability to operate on certain frequencies. And we have the ability to, again, hear and feel and see. Now, when we look at these hertz, it's not to be confused with distance because hertz is measuring sound. Although the conversations come up and they're used interchangeably, hertz is usually made in reference to the measurements of sound, right? And just to be, a little prompt and just make sure it's making more sense. When you measure out a hertz, right? 1 hertz is equivalent to 1,000 kilohertz. And then 1 megahertz is 1 million hertz. Okay. So 1 megahertz is 1 million hertz, and then 1 hertz is 1 kilo. Okay, 1,000. Okay, 1,000 kilos. So, and I'm saying that because when you start to break down these energies and these frequencies, you start to understand certain things. Like when you go into certain neighborhoods, particularly the city or urban areas, the measurement of that hertz is at about 60. When you go to other areas, it's anywhere from about 18 to 35, depending on the state. So I think that's important because those are disruptors to our energetic field, even though we can't necessarily see them and we can't hear them that well. These vibrations we can, because the ability for humans to hear goes from 20 hertz to 20,000 kilohertz, right? Animals and babies can hear lower and higher frequencies, right? If you had like a skilled ear or some odd reason you can just hear, you might be able to hear down to 17 as a human. Now, all of this is important because your energetic field is beyond your physical body, right? So we're having these discussions about chakras and we're like, oh yeah, I know vibes and I don't like the vibes. And you need to know what you're saying. You're absolutely correct, but you need to understand it, right? Let's have a better understanding, right? And to make my point, FM radios are emitting megahertz at a range of 88 to 108, right? Remember, 1 megahertz is 1 million hertz. So just that's a lot of energy you're taking on when you listen to a radio. They're stating that from 8 to 18 hertz is when you're in a meditative or hallucinative state. This is the vibration that people are usually in when they're praying or meditating, or even when they've been hallucinating, right? So now, if you want to be in fearful, or you're at, or not if you want to be, but if you're uncomfortable or in fear, you're usually emitting around 19. This is where like MK Ultra and, psychological warfare and abuse comes in. Now, why this is important is because a lot of disruption is coming from our outer environment. And sometimes we think it's us, but we're just not balanced out, right? Because the human body has a positive charge while the earth has a negative charge. So that right there is balanced by itself, right? So when you start coming into these environments where the frequency is all over, it's going to throw you out of whack. It's already throwing the earth out of tandem. Nothing is in tandem, right? So then when you start looking at different products, so like America legally, right, operates at a hertz of 60 and 120 voltage compared to a 220 voltage and a 50 hertz for Australia. Some other countries, have parallel numbers. So this is like for your appliances, your equipment, your motors, the street lights, everything is supposed to be operating in this particular range, right? All of this is important because, again, you have a frequency, and when you come into contact with these frequencies, it's affecting you, it's penetrating. And if you're not in balance, it can throw you off, especially those lower frequency tones, because they travel longer distances. Now, they're said to have so many different frequencies, with 432 being referred to as the God frequency. The devil frequency is considered to be a combination of 741 and 528 together. Reports have shown that when you listen to either one of them, you still can have bad effects after. Now, this makes a lot of sense also when you start looking at the health of people who live in urban areas or communities, because these frequencies affect the physical body. So your heart, your cholesterol, your brain, your lungs, right? Because it's penetrating. This is a vibration penetrating. A lot of people get headaches. They get nauseous when they have an over exposure to these frequencies. Okay, so it's called Schumann. Look it up. SCHUMAN frequency. Okay, now before we go, if you wanted to raise your vibration with some foods, you can go ahead and try some fermented foods, garlic, mushroom, any type of berries, avocado, spinach. You can look that up. Again, fasting, prayer, and exercise is always the go-to. But love, good food, and just a nice, relaxed environment would really do you good. It would really clear out not just your chakras, but put your body in a particular vibration, right? That is the vibration, right? But you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I just wanted to, the creator told me to go back into this because I was literally about to start going back into the periodic table, but this came back up. I'm assuming because of the vibrations, because the vibration of the earth is also raising. So if the earth goes from a negative state to a positive state, that's going to change. And it makes sense that the earth is rising because our vibration is rising as a people. But yeah, I'm going to end it here. I do hope you guys had a good weekend. I hope y'all are drinking your water and eating your fruit and vegetables and sipping on your own tea because it is free. Okay? I love y'all. I hope y'all are prepared for the babies to go back to school. And I hope y'all are making it do what it do. All right. Like ya.